guys, I'm Wizzy and welcome to my channel. Let's now dive into the review of the book. So picking up from the last chapter, which saw Prince Harry engulfed in a racism row due to an unfortunate choice of words, Prince Harry also recounts having to leave for the first phase of flight training, feeling the aftermath of the scandal and the impact of the British media's reaction on his mental health. After the release of The Spare, the British media tracked down everyone Prince Harry mentioned in the book, no matter how slightly. They gleefully reported that Prince Harry's flight trainer, Sergeant Major Bully, had disputed Prince Harry's account of the training exercise. They said that Sergeant Major Michael Bully had called Prince Harry's account about the military training a complete fantasy. Looking at the newspaper article on the right-hand side of the screen, you will see that the headline reads, "Pilot says Harry's recollection about military training is complete fantasy." Let's look at what Prince Harry has said, which have caused the controversy in the first place. So Harry says, after a period of acclimatizing to the Firefly's cockpit, becoming familiar with the control panel, we finally took her up on one of our first flights together. With no warning, Bully threw the aircraft into a stall. I felt the left wing dip, a sickening feeling of disorder, of entropy, and then after several seconds that felt like decades, he recovered the aircraft and leveled the wings. I stared at him. What the absolute? Was this an aborted suicide attempt? No, he said gently. This was the next stage in my training. Countless things can go wrong in the air, he explained, and he needed to show me what to do, but also how to do it. Stay cool. When Sergeant Major Michael Bully saw the newspaper article, he said he felt let down and betrayed after speaking to a journalist about the flying stories shared in Spare. He said, "Not once did I say anything derogatory, and I certainly never said it was a complete fantasy." But anyway, it seems like the damage was done. But in a bit of the British media trying to disparage the book, it ended up providing free publicity for the book, which is why the book remains at #1 of the New York Times bestseller list up till today. So, although it was slightly damaging, but it actually helped Prince Harry's book in the end. So, that's fine. They can keep on trying to disparage the book. Anyway, having mastered the first phase of flight training, Prince Harry progressed to helicopter training. He quickly came in contact with what was known as helicopter monkeys. In describing the helicopter monkeys, Prince Harry says, just above the ground, a helicopter falls prey to a fiendish confluence of factors: airflow, downdraft, gravity. First it wobbles, then it rocks, then it pitches and yaws as if invisible monkeys are hanging from both its skids, yanking. To land the helicopter, you have to shake off those hover monkeys, and the only way to do that is by ignoring them. I would say in doing the helicopter training, Prince Harry was going to have an opportunity to train his mind to overcome the circumstances around him. This mental challenge referenced by Prince Harry reminds me of something similar mentioned by Simone Biles, which she referred to when she had to withdraw from several sessions in the 2021 Olympics. The twisties, she called it. Who remembers that? And who also remembers Piers Morgan bullying her because she withdrew from the competition, citing her mental health? Luckily, Prince Harry was able to overcome the hover monkeys and proceeded to the next stage of his training. The next phase of Prince Harry's training took him to Shropshire, UK, where he lived with Prince William while they both trained as pilots. him as a combat pilot while William was training to be a search and rescue pilot. During that period, they witnessed the unraveling of Murdoch's media empire. The journalists who were the major actors in the harassment of politicians, celebrities, and the royal family were exposed in a trial. What was the trial about, you might say? There were allegations that News International journalists were involved in hacking people's phones for information, and this led to the closure of the 168-year-old News of the World tabloid in 2011, and a trial costing reportedly up to 100 million. In newspaper reportings about the trial, it also led to the Leveson inquiry, a raft of investigations, arrests and prosecution of journalists, and a series of compensation claims by victims. And for those who are not in the UK, I will just briefly describe what the Leveson inquiry they're referring to was. The Leveson inquiry was set up in 2011 by UK's former Prime Minister David Cameron to investigate the culture, practices and ethics of the British press following the News International phone hacking scandal. The inquiry was chaired by Lord Justice Leveson, and a series of public hearings were held throughout 2011 and 2012. The Leveson report was published in November 2012 and recommended the creation of a new independent body to replace the existing Press Complaints Commission. However, despite many of the findings being welcomed by the Prime Minister, he declined to enact the necessary legislation. Britain's former Secretary, Matthew Hancock, as at 2011, Health and Social Care Secretary from 2018 to 2021, confirmed that Part 2 of the inquiry was dropped entirely, causing controversy. The background of the inquiry is linked to the illegal interception of phone messages by News of the World's royal editor Clive Goodman and private investigator Glenn Mulcair, which led to further investigations and the eventual creation of the Leveson inquiry. And it seems that though Prince Harry details his struggles and still being hard on himself, he was now bitten by a flying bug and couldn't wait to fly the Apache helicopters. Perhaps that was also him wanting to complete the training as soon as possible to enable him get back to war. Because he keeps on saying, expressing his impatience with the amount of time that it took him to be able to even get into the Apache helicopters. And it was very much like the cartoon you see on the screen. Are we there yet? I mean, I used this particular video because Prince Harry says that he likes Family Guy. As he discusses his Apache training, I love the skillfully elegant way Prince Harry gives a nod to Mohamed Al-Fayed, who also lost his son when Princess Diana died. He was a most interesting personality, and when I tell you about his relationship with the royal family, perhaps you may come to see the reason for the conspiracy theories around Princess Diana's death. So about Mohamed Al-Fayed. Mohamed Al-Fayed was an Egyptian businessman who achieved great success in the UK. He acquired prestigious holdings including the Ritz Hotel in Paris and Harrods department store in London. However, his relationship with the British establishment was contentious, culminating in a clash when his son, Dodi, and Diana, Princess of Wales, were killed in a car crash in 1997. He accused the British royal family of ordering her execution, leading to a private investigation and a French court faulting the driver of Diana's car, but Fayed continued to assert the involvement of the royals. Despite his achievements, Fayed remained controversial and influential in the UK, with numerous feuds with the establishment and failed attempts to become a British citizen. He also made headlines for his involvement in scandals, including the Cash for Question scandal that arose in 1994 after he named ministers who had accepted money from him in return for tabling parliamentary questions on his behalf. Fayed eventually sold Harrods and Fulham Football Club, but his legacy and impact on the UK remain significant. You see, in his downtime, Prince Harry went back to Botswana, and I love the way he described his fatherly talk with Mike. Mike encouraged Prince Harry to give back to Africa by joining them in their work with the elephants. I love Prince Harry's shady reference to how the British colonialists were constantly taking from Africa and never really gave Africa anything back in return. We come in contact with Harry's deeply introspective and spiritual side as he describes his encounter with an elephant in a storm as they returned from hanging out on a boat. Prince Harry says, in total silence, we floated on the swollen river, waiting for the next lightning flash. When it came, there were again those majestic creatures. This time, when I stared at the elephants close to me, when I looked deep into her eyeballs, and this time it made me feel safe. I wasn't being judged, it just was. If anything, it was slightly tearful. Was that possible? Once he returned to the UK, he got his wings and was promoted to captain. He described the ceremony where King Charles, as Army Air Corps Colonel-in-Chief, pinned them to his chest. Harry and Chelsea broke up for the final time on this occasion because of the press. Prince Harry describes a trip him and Prince William made to Lesotho, where they went to check on the progress of their charity, Sentebale. Just looking at the picture on the screen, it makes me wonder whether Prince William felt left out, as clearly Prince Harry and Prince Cecil had a vibe that he couldn't seem to tap into. On their return, Prince Harry talks about how he heard about Prince William's engagement. I just wonder, how do you keep something like that from your sibling? There was clearly an obvious disconnect between the brothers way before Meghan came onto the scene, which is what Prince Harry had been trying to say to us for years. Prince Harry says, soon after we returned to Britain, the palace announced that Willie was going to marry November 2010. News to me, all that time together in Lesotho, he'd never mentioned it. Like, how? Just how? How do you do that? Of course, the engagement was reported in the papers, along with this lie that the media had sold to the public about how Prince Harry had given Princess Diana's ring to Prince William. All lies properly debunked by Prince Harry. Of course, because Prince Harry had exposed the British media's lies, they trotted out the world's favorite butler, Paul Burrell, to debunk Prince Harry's story, as though he would know the story of the engagement ring better than the family themselves. After all was said and done, all Paul Burrell could say was Prince Harry had asked to be given the ring. My response to that was, so? The fact that he asked for the ring didn't mean that he got the ring. It also didn't mean that the ring was his to give, which is exactly what he said. Like, duh. And so Prince Harry tells us that he was invited to join the Walking Wounded, which is a charity for the wounded soldiers. He was invited to join them on a trek to the North Pole. However, before he could go, his personal assistant arranged a trip to Berlin to help him combat the negative fallout from Nazigate. And this is Prince Harry in Berlin, and he says, and so December 2010, bitterly cold day, I put my fingertips to the bullet holes in the city's walls. I stood at the former site of the Berlin Wall, which had also been the site of SSS torture chambers, and swore I could hear the echoes of agonized screams on the wind. I think it's safe to say that he finally fully got the reason why Nazigate was a big deal. After the trip to Berlin was done and dusted, Prince Harry joined the soldiers on part of the trip to the North Pole. It was easy to see the camaraderie he was able to strike up with the other soldiers in the short time he was there. Fun fact, did you know that Prince Harry had to train for the North Pole by going to sleep in a freezer for a few days? And then finally, as a result perhaps of his position, but the pilot who was taking him back to the UK then said he would like to take him to the North Pole. He found it very sad that after all the effort he had made to get there, he was not able to actually reach the North Pole. So when he returned from the North Pole, Prince Harry and the rest of the family had dinner together. And Prince Harry talks about how Prince William was slightly tipsy after the dinner, and looking out of the window, he saw that people had gathered outside the palace, which is quite a common practice in the UK when there are any big events being organized by the royal family. And Prince William, from nowhere, just decided that he wanted to go outside to greet the people. But in this case, he begged Prince Harry to join him as he greeted the people out. So these are the pictures of him greeting the well-wishers who had gathered outside the palace the day before his wedding. And that's Prince Harry there. The next morning, they arrived at Westminster Abbey, where William got married, and also where his mother's funeral took place. He mentioned a few ways that he remembered his mother, and I found those pictures which I will be sharing with you. In the meantime, for those of you who are not from the UK, have a look at some of the pictures of Westminster. It's quite an impressive building and it's been in place for, I would say, centuries. And of course, here are some of the iconic pictures of Princess Diana that Prince Harry referenced in the book. This is her dancing with John Travolta. I was quite surprised to learn about the fight with Elton John, but of course I found the details of the quarrel in the newspapers, and having looked into it, I can see why there was a problem. As the story goes, Princess Diana had promised her close friend that she would write the foreword for a coffee table book called Rock and Royalty, put together by their mutual friend Gianni Versace. Elton described the book as a collection of portraits by great photographers and included photographs of music stars such as Prince, Take That, and Elton himself posing in Versace. Diana also said she would go to the launch of the book at a fundraising dinner for Elton's AIDS Foundation in February 1997. More than £400,000 worth of tickets had been sold when she finally saw an advance copy of the book and suddenly changed her mind. Why did she change her mind, you might say? Nude men were juxtaposed with photographs of senior royals such as the Queen. So of course, when Diana saw the book, she was horrified. And because of her position, it wouldn't have been right for her to associate herself with the project. This is Prince Harry and Prince William making their way into the Westminster Abbey. And I got this photograph just to indicate that they changed after the wedding into their evening suits. But in this process, Prince Harry debunks the press lie that he was the best man and tells us that he only acted as compere at the event, which is like an introduction to the best man speech. And I think the Queen had begun to see Harry's potential, and she sent him off to the Caribbean. Harry doesn't say, and a lot of the newspaper articles I saw didn't really say, but I think about this time the Caribbeans had started murmuring about leaving the Commonwealth. and so Harry was dispatched to convince them of the benefits of staying within the Commonwealth. And again, you can see that ease with which Harry relates to people. I'm sure he could not dance worth a damn, but he gave it a good go. Next, Prince Harry talks about meeting Cressida Bonus. Looking at his type at the time, you can see that Prince Harry had given the blonde hair, blue-eyed girls a good try, but couldn't make it work with them. And of course, just after such a triumphant outing on his solo tour to Caribbean, the next thing is that we have the media intruding on his healthy, happy state of mind. So next, Prince Harry tells us how he returned to war, this time without the Ministry of Defense announcing his departure for base. This meant that he was able to serve in relative secrecy. But not too long after his arrival, the base was attacked. It was scary and funny all at the same time, because Prince Harry recounts the stress wails of his bodyguard, who was saying, "I knew this was going to happen. I just knew it. I told everyone, but no one would listen. Shut up," they said. But I told them, Harry's going to get hurt. F off, they said. And now here we are. That's my best impression of an Irish accent. Anyway, Harry found the presence of mind to keep calm. And I think in hindsight, he found it funny because he referred to the man as an unappreciated Cassandra. What's an unappreciated Cassandra, I thought. I looked it up, and did you know there is actually such a thing as an unappreciated Cassandra? Yeah, it's real. This metaphor highlights the struggle of those who possess valuable insight or foresight but are ignored, resulting in disastrous consequences. I am going to be using that the next opportunity I have. This is a picture of the base in smoke after the hits by the Taliban. So you can see that obviously it was quite serious. Afterwards, the Taliban took responsibility for the hit. On the good side, the military were able to confirm that Prince Harry was in known danger. On the negative, now everyone knew he was there and he'd become a target again. Oh my God, it's enough to make a person want to give up. We'll stop here for this part of the review. In this part of the book, we can see that Harry was growing up and buoyed up by the love and support of Tej and Mike. The discipline of his pilot training really helped him grow as well. I enjoyed seeing him embrace his evolution from boy to man, becoming a godfather to Marco's son, learning to give back, and being able to receive and accept criticism. We see him alternate between hope and despair. When he is hopeful, it's because he has found love. When he despairs, it's because once more the British media have once again ruined another relationship or life opportunity. His struggle with the media has always been there, and the media have always been so fatally detrimental to his life that I wish him the very, very, very best in his court case against the media. He gently introduces the discussion of mental health, the impact of mental health on your performance, and removes the shame in discussing grief and work-based pressure. I personally love the hints in the book, which makes the book read like a detective novel. His narration of his relationship with Prince William tells us that there was no deep brotherly connection. I mean, how do you not tell your brother that you've proposed to your girlfriend? Who else are you telling? At the end of the day, you can see why Prince Harry moved further and further away from the royal family. Aside from his professional role as Prince of the Realm, there was really nothing for him there. Since everyone seemed to be too busy for him, most times he went to hang out with Tej and Mike in Botswana, who were more family to him than his own family. In the end, all Harry wanted from the beginning was a family. That's it. If you liked this review, Please like, subscribe, and share the video. The analytics on my channel tells me that 80% of the people who watch my videos don't subscribe. Thank you for watching. Until the next one, bye!